A lot of us actually focus too much energy at work. We give our jobs our all, and we forget to preserve any energy for people we love, for creative pursuits, for vacations, for free times, right? We think that we have to spend all our energy at work and just go home and rest so that you're ready for work the next day, right? But that is not how we should be living our lives, no. Hey, this is Bipin and welcome to A Word Within, where I discuss some fundamental concepts in life with the help of readings, reflections, art, and affirmations. And on that regard, today we're gonna discuss why our lives feel so repetitive, how we got here as a society, and how we can live a more interesting and fulfilled life going forward. Alright guys, before we start the video, make sure you leave me a like, leave me some comments, share this video, and subscribe to my channel, A Word Within. Don't forget to hit that notification bell icon so you know when I release my next video. So, why does our life feel so repetitive? Well, for the most part, it's because everything is expected, right? We're expected to work a certain amount of hours a week. We're expected 2 days of weekend time, where one of the days we're probably gonna do chores, and the next day we're probably gonna just rest and gather the energy from working all week. Plus, there is this sense of separation between work and identity, right? So it feels like we're doing this repetitive task that doesn't add to who we are. So what that does, it makes this like a tedious task, right? It makes work a tedious thing. And it's a repetitive process. So for us, we're already in this muscle memory movement kind of deal, which kind of makes us bored, of course, right? Because once things are repetitive, once things aren't teaching us anything new, or things aren't like leading us anywhere new in our creativity, in our conceptuality, in our physicalness, anything, right? Once the same thing is repeated over and over again, then we get bored. And yes, most of our lives in this world do feel repetitive and do feel boring. So, how did we get here as a society? How did we get to a point where majority of our population is bored because of the repetitiveness of their day-to-day lives? How did we as humans get here then? Well, this question is very important because, in the past, humans haven't had this repetitive of a lifestyle. Before industrialization, people usually worked in their farms or did their craft so that they could live a life, right? So there was a massive amount of connectedness between people and their craft. And for farmers, people were in the field growing the food that they were going to eat later in the year. So there was a lot of interconnectedness between what you did on a daily basis and your life. So what you did on a daily basis had almost a direct implication in the quality of your life. But with the advent of industrialization and with our appreciation of specialization as a society, what we have come down to is somebody goes to work in a place that they dislike, where they have no idea what the end product of what they are doing is, and they have a complete disconnect between who they are, what they identify with, and what they spend majority of life doing, right? Because most people are at work for most of their lives. Most people spend time at work than they do at home with their families because of the way our society is formed. And if there's a disconnect between something you do all the time and who you are, of course there's going to be a repulsed feeling, right? Of course people are going to get bored because they're spending so much time doing a repetitive task that doesn't relate to who they are, or a repetitive task that they do not identify with, right? And here's an example of what I mean. So in the past, a watchmaker would sit there and work on this one piece of watch for a month or two, and he would polish every single thing and perfect it to his ability, right? And then in the end, after 2 months, when he sold this watch, he was probably gonna be able to provide for his family for another 2 or 3 months. And he saw the implication of what he did on a day-to-day basis on the end product of that watch, which in turn led to him being able to feed his family. So there was a sense of identification with what you did. Versus once capitalism took over, industrialization and specialization became the norm in this society, a person that works in a watch factory could possibly be just screwing the same bolt in different watches every day for a whole year. So by the end of that, what he went through is a repetitive task where he has no idea what each of the watch ended up looking like. He has no idea who bought those watches. He has no connection, no identification with what he does on a day-to-day basis, because for him, his identity is not of a person sitting there and screwing the same bolt over and over and over and over. So definitely after the start of capitalization and industrialization and specialization being the norm of society, we started valuing the number of products we produce, right? How fast could we do this? How efficiently could we make something? It wasn't about it being an expression of who you are. None of the products that we started making since capitalism is a result of passion or desire to create something unique and new. No, it has been driven by the desire to create more of the same thing and create it in a very effective way, a very efficient manner, so that we can get it in the hands of as many people as possible, right? So, because of that requirement, we started needing people to work in factories in a certain setting where they're doing the same repetitive tasks, so that we can produce more of the thing that them as a collective produce, right? And that, I think, has led us to where we are at the moment, where people are doing the same thing repetitively throughout the year, throughout 10 years, for life even, right? And this has definitely created a disjoint from work and individuality, which has led in people feeling bored and people feeling almost abused from having to do these repetitive tasks all the time. So now let's talk about the solutions to these problems, right? Let's talk about how we can possibly change the monotonity of our life and make it more interesting and live a fulfilled life. And one of the main things on this regard is we have to find a creative outlet. Honestly, we are so far into capitalization and industrialization that we probably won't be able to go to the foundation of this and then change and overhaul the whole thing, right? So now, how do we, with whatever exists, find a way to live a more fulfilled life? And that thing is creative outlet, right? Having a creative outlet gives us this sense of control, sense of identification with what you spend your time doing. So what I mean by that is when you go home after work and let's say sit down to create a painting, and you end up working for 2-3 hours and making this a painting that you absolutely love and you identify with, then it kind of helps bridge that gap between your identity and your work, right? Like, now you're able to identify with this painting that you have created, and this is a full piece that you're able to see and feel and whatever, right? So it makes you feel more connected to who you are. It doesn't make you feel disjointed, right? Because you're not sitting there trying to explain to people why you are not a retail person, but you are rather an artist, right? It's not that. You have now created what you want to create, and it makes you feel one with yourself. It makes you feel closer to who you really are, right? And the other thing that I think really helps us is a lot of us actually focus too much energy at work. We give our jobs our all, and we forget to preserve any energy for people we love, for creative pursuits, for vacations, for free times, right? We think that we have to spend all our energy at work and just go home and rest so that you're ready for work the next day, right? But that is not how we should be living our lives. No, we should be spending a good amount of energy at work, right? But not all of it, so that when we go home, we have the energy to play with our kids, talk to our family, do interesting things, maybe maybe do a painting, maybe make a song. Whatever it is that we like doing, we will have more energy for that if we consciously try not to spend too much energy at work. Now, the other thing is very, very important as well, right? And it is being in the moment, away from your phones, away from technology and TV and everything else like that. And this one I say is very important because lately one thing I noticed is that every time I sit there scrolling on my phone or watching TV, the time passes really, really, really fast, right? So if I'm there watching TV, it'll be 3 hours later when I realize that I've already spent 3 hours. But if I took those 3 hours and maybe did yoga for half hour, maybe walked outside for another half hour, did something else for half hour, now it feels as if I've had so much more time to myself, right? Because I've been in the moment, doing things in the moment, not getting lost in imaginative thought and the screen that takes us to so many different places that sometimes we don't even want to go to, right? And if we do that, then we spend so much time that we could be spending doing things we love, making a painting, calling our parents, or doing anything else that makes us realize that there is more to life than just work, right? Thank you so much for watching that video. I really appreciate you getting till the end. Make sure you leave me a like, leave me some comments letting me know what you think about the video and what you'd like to see in the future as well. Definitely share this video if you think somebody else is gonna find some form of value in this, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, A World Within, here on YouTube. Hit that notification bell icon as well so you get notified when I release my upcoming videos. But have a great time.